Welcome back to the Spread Pick Show with Mike and Andrew. There is three more shows left this year. We have this upcoming divisional round, conference championship, Super Bowl. Maybe we'll do that show in person again like we did last year. We'll talk about that in the future. But Andrew, you were coming off an awful week, pretty much lost this season series for the second year in a row. How you feeling right now? How the Eagles doing? Like, how's everything going, buddy?
I don't really know what to say. I didn't really prepare for this moment, but I will say this, okay? It's not over until it's over. I'm going to fight until the end, unlike the Eagles, and hopefully I can make something happen. As for the Eagles, they're in a great spot right now, even though they lost. I mean, you just look at the offseason, they're in a fantastic spot. So not what I wanted, but at the beginning of the season you told me we would go to the playoffs and get crushed by the Bucks, then so be it, right? We've had a great season, 3 first-round picks coming up. One's going to the Falcons for Calvin Ridley, and then we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
I think Calvin Ridley would be a very good fit, not going to lie, but I hope
so
it doesn't
too.
happen. Good thing you have no quarterback, though, so that's a positive. Anyway, so I think for you to win out this season series between me and you have to go undefeated the rest of the year and not have to lose every game, right? Is that pretty much how it works?
Yes, but
But
if I win the playoff bracket, I do get a game. Just so
that's right. Yeah. Well, it ain't
that
looking
can
good
help
so
me.
far. All right. So let's go over last week real quick. So we had the Las Vegas Raiders at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati was a -5.5. I took the Bengals. Andrew got the Raiders. I got that one slightly. It was a weird game. How'd you feel about that phantom whistle call? The one that was called when Joe Burrow was rolling out of bounds. Did you agree with what the call on the field was, or should they have overturned that?
You're talking about when they called it a touchdown?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it should have been. Can that be reviewed? I don't even know if that can be reviewed. The call
Probably
on the
not.
field should have been that he stepped out of bounds because the whistle went off. That was going to be the call on the field. The play was going to be stopped. You can't just change mid route. But if it's a reviewable play, then what would have happened in the end would have happened.
Right.
So I
But I
guess it
don't
really
I
doesn't
don't
matter.
think I don't think it was reviewable because I from what I know is that when the whistle's blown, the play is over. And that should be it. So to me, it was like, well, that should not have counted. But as someone who picked the Bengals and bet on them in real life, I was like, all right, whatever, I'll take the points. So
I
it
guess
kind
I
of
just don't
sucks.
know. I mean, I just don't know if like refs can get together and like they're like, no, you got this call wrong. Let's fix it now. I mean, that seems like it's okay. But if I was a Raiders fan, I'd definitely be upset.
Yeah. Well, the officiating is a whole nother topic, and it just was not good at all. So yeah. Anyway, New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. It was a 30-point loss for the Patriots, who were a +4. We both took the Bills. That was pretty easy money, free money, as the kids say. So we got the win there. Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. I'm gonna play what you said last week about this game, right about at this moment, and kind of just show how wrong you were. Philadelphia Eagles, who somehow made the playoffs at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay's a -8.5. I'm going Tampa. I like Tampa a lot in this game.
Oh my
You
god!
you like the
Oh my
you
god!
like the Eagles a lot in this game. So let's hear
Yeah,
your case. Go ahead.
yeah, +8.5. Are you? I mean, are you kidding? This game might be within a field goal.
Should have
That's
been
how
should
close
have been
I
ten and
think
a
this game
half.
is going to be. Yeah, see these guys don't learn. These NFL fans out here. All I've heard is Bucks, 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 and it feels very 2017 esque. Now I'm not going to
Yeah.
say that they're going to go on and win the Super Bowl.
And I remember we were on Discord Saturday night, the night before the game. You were still shit talking, saying how stupid I was for picking Tampa. You actually owe me $5, by the way. So,
I
yeah,
do, yeah.
you do. So, I mean, that was rough for you. But hey, in all honesty, the Eagles had a successful year, and you have one
Yep.
of the brighter futures if you can land the quarterback. So, do you think
I
Jalen Hurts is a
appreciate the pity.
franchise? Is he a franchise quarterback or what?
I I don't know. He has a tendency to improve like a lot from season to season, so I'm not done with him yet. It's just been a thing he's done his whole whatever college career so far in the NFL. Big thing last year was completion percentage. The guy was solid last year, and everybody was like, "Look, Jalen Hurts can do it. Why can't Carson Wentz do it?" Blah blah blah. That whole thing. But he had like a 52% completion percentage on the year, and this year it's above 60. So that right there is an improvement. But the guy really just can't throw with any consistency at the moment. And I don't expect that to really change over time because that's just not the type of player he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you waste all the draft capital that you have on a quarterback like Watson if he's cleared to go, or Russell Wilson, or maybe even Aaron Rodgers. I feel like you stick with what you have and you just kind of build around it. Because if he does have a really good team around him, I think he could do some stuff in the playoffs.
Hmm. And we'll talk about future potential Deshaun Watson trades or something. But I don't know. For Hurts, I just don't know if he has like that arm strength to be that guy. He could fix it
Yeah,
accuracy wise. I think you can win with him, but like it's just as you say, you got to build around him better, and they need another wide receiver weapon. So yeah, Calvin Ridley,
yep.
2022. All right, San Francisco at Dallas. You really hate to see it. This game sucked for me. I listened to half this game in the car, and in the second quarter, me and my brother were at Outback Steakhouse, and the fire alarm went off, so we had to leave that. So I basically only watched the third and fourth quarter. Yeah, it was rough. So you're lucky you missed out there. Your brother met us; he was late, of course. But we both took San Francisco. We got the win there. They won that game outright as underdogs. Pittsburgh at Kansas City. It was like 45-21 KC. I took Kansas City. You took the Steelers and Big Ben's most likely finale there. And then Monday night, I actually like the Monday night game, by the way, so the NFL got something right, so I like that, of course. Arizona at the Rams. I took the Rams as a -4. You took the Cardinals. They didn't even show up. Did not even show up. I mean, I don't know about the Cardinals. They're in a weird spot. They have a really good roster, but the problem is Kyler Murray gets hurt after halfway through every year, and they're just not the same offense anymore. So I don't know what you do in that situation.
Yeah, I kind of like how Kyler Murray stunk, and it kind of like pulled the conversation away from Jalen Hurts, a franchise quarterback, to his Kyler Murray, franchise quarterback. I mean, Kyler Murray, on some of those, like, he's just, he just, I don't know. I mean, just take the 2 points in the end zone there, right? I mean, just don't, he really pulled a Carson Wentz. And Booger said it at halftime, and I was, like, in the kitchen, and I overheard it, and I was like, hey, yo, like, Booger, like, shut up. Like, come on. You don't got to roast my guy on national TV. He lost to the Jaguars. But Kyler Murray it didn't look good. It didn't look good, and I believe in Kyler Murray. He's awesome for what he can do, but God, guys just need to help him out.
Kyler, a healthy Kyler Murray is one of the better quarterbacks in football, but just when he looks like that, it's like, I don't know, because if you go back to like the Dallas game even a few weeks ago when I think they won 25-22, and of course the first half of this year, he's like literally an MVP caliber player. And then you see games like Monday and even games that were kind of towards the end of the year when the Cardinals lost 4 or 5, and he's just not the same guy. Like he just doesn't use his legs, and it's just not there. So I think for Arizona, you kind of just run it back one more year. You got Kyler on a cheap cap hit for next year. Once again, 4th year of his rookie deal. So you see what happens. Try and build that team more. All right. So our records now, yikes. 140, 135, and 3 for me. My favorite bet was Tampa. You are 134, 141, and 3, 6 games back. And your favorite bet was the Eagles. So not a good week for you, going 2-4. I actually went undefeated. Like I never expected that. I made some good money on DraftKings, but I'll lose it next week. So
it's never going to happen again, and I'll tell you why. Because you just picked the winner. You picked the people that you thought were going to win the game in the spread. You did that the whole round, and I don't think that.
Not the Niners.
Yeah, but you thought the Niners were going to win. You picked them in the spread.
Oh, yeah, that's facts. Yeah.
Yeah, they picked every single team you thought was going to win. You picked in the spread. I don't think it's ever going to happen again. So
yeah,
we'll
see. Look, the Patriots had a rookie quarterback, inferior team. The Steelers, their offense is a bunch of bozos. I figured they were going to lose by a lot.
It looked Cardinals good after the first quarter.
That's true.
That Chiefs game, it looked good after the first quarter.
Actually, I got home right as TJ Watt had the scoop and score, and I was like, oh, that's not good. But of course, I think Patrick Mahomes had 5 touchdowns in a 12-minute span. It's just like
unreal.
Who else is doing that? Who else? So
who else doing it?
All right, so on to divisional round. Cincinnati at Tennessee is the first game. I guess this is Saturday afternoon. Tennessee, who I think is a they're a 1 seed that I don't think should be a 1 seed, but hey, the record says they are. I know you hate that. Sorry, you can give out your point in a second here. Tennessee's a -3.5 at home. I'm taking the Bengals, who I picked to go to the AFC Championship game, and you're going Tennessee because you're going to pick against me in every game.
Yeah, I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. And I don't really hate the pick as it is. I probably would have went with the Bengals if my hand wasn't necessarily forced. But again, I don't mind going with the Titans here. And people really need to stop hating on the Titans. No, I don't think they're the best team in the AFC, but they went to the playoffs right now and are the best team seed-wise in the AFC without Derrick Henry for half of the year, without Julio Jones for most of the year as well. Their offense was depleted, and Ryan Tannehill hasn't had a good year, and they've somehow figured out a way to be in a great position. And I just feel like in many ways, they remind me of the 2017 Eagles, a 1 seed that no one's really given a shot. And the Bengals are hot. Everybody's riding the Bengals right now. And to an extent, I agree. But you got to remember, this is an inexperienced team. And not as inexperienced as people make them out to be. I mean, the quarterback wide receiver duo, who everybody's going crazy about, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they've played in big games. I've seen them play in the college football playoffs. I've seen them win a college football championship. So they've played in big games as underdogs, or as when the odds were against them the entire season, they've showed up. But I just think the Titans are a veteran team. They have a really good defense. Their defense carried them here. And I think they get this done, and I think they can win by 4 points. I think the Bengals will be back for years to come. I heard Joe Burrow said that, get used to this. You can get excited now, but get used to this because this is where we're going to be every single year. I do believe him. I think the Bengals are in a really, really strong spot, but I think the Titans get the better of them here, and I think they go to the AFC Championship game.
It's pretty impossible not to like Joe Burrow, right? It's just a cool guy.
If you don't like Joe Burrow, you're just a hater. I don't know what you can't like about Joe Burrow.
You're a Steelers, Browns, or Ravens fan, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, very likable guy. I would definitely love to have him as a quarterback. All right, so for me, I'm obviously going to go with the Bengals here, and once again, I don't give Tennessee the respect they probably deserve, but it just feels like with Tennessee, there's a lot of newness coming back here. Like, when's the last time A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry all played together? This is like the Brooklyn Nets big three. Never played together, and now to go on the field for the first time in a long time, and expect it to work right away. And I don't know what Derrick Henry's going to look like coming off this broken foot. I talked about Cincy's run defense, ranked top 5 this year, allowed 102 yards per game on the ground per game. Not that bad. So Tennessee, they were 25th in passing yards allowed this year, and against a really good passing attack with Joe Burrow in that Bengals offense. Now, what I think happens, if I had to diagnose this game or analyze it in a way, is I think they're going to put 2 guys mostly on Jamar Chase and make someone else beat them. So if I'm making like a prop bet, I'm making T. Higgins prop bets all day for this game. I think he has a nice game in this one. And T. Higgins low-key was trash in that first wildcard game. He dropped a couple of passes, almost had a touchdown. They were not easy catches, but it just wasn't his best game. So I think he bounces back in this one. Of course, Tyler Boyd and Mr. C.J. Uzomah is out there making plays for that team now. So, you know, Tennessee's defense is young. They have Elijah Molden, I think, is the rookie slot corner. Christian Fulton's in like year 2, very young guy. Like, there's inexperience. Then you have Janoris Jackrabbit Jenkins, the veteran there at like 32, 33 years old, but still some young guys, inexperienced in that secondary. The Titans are tough to trust. They lost to the Jets, lost to the Texans. They've had games where Tannehill's looked like garbage against the Texans. He had 4 interceptions. You know, he had that game where he was sacked 4 or 5 times by the Jets. Like, they just have those weird outings. They're a tough team to trust sometimes. And I think I saw Trey Hendrickson's out of the concussion protocol, so that's definitely going to help Cincy, because if you watch that game versus the Raiders, when Hendrickson went off and I think Sam Hubbard went off, their pass rush was just not existent whatsoever. Derek Carr had a lot of time in the second half to throw. So getting Hendrickson back, who had 13 and a half sacks this year, is definitely going to help a lot. So they should get pressure on Tannehill. They're going to put a lot on Derrick Henry's plate, who hasn't played a game in 3 months now. So it's just, I don't know, there's a lot of newness, and I think the Bengals are rolling right now. I like the momentum they have, and I could see Tennessee laying an egg here. I just don't really think it's a guarantee that they go out and win this game as the 1 seed. So next game, Saturday night, San Francisco is at Green Bay. These teams have played, a couple times in the mid-2010s, the Colin Kaepernick versus Aaron Rodgers games. I think San Fran got them both times, actually. So now Aaron Rodgers looking for some revenge. And they played in 2019 that was, right? And San Fran went to the Super Bowl. My boy Raheem Mostert had 250 yards, right? So, they've had some familiarity with these matchups here. So, anyway, for this matchup, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. I like them a lot here as a -5.5, and you're going to go with the Niners as a +5.5.
Yeah, I don't like this matchup for the Packers, and it's not just me necessarily going back in time and being biased because Raheem Mostert rushed for over 200 yards in the game. Yeah, they dominated in that game, and to be honest, San Fran's run game has been fantastic since, even though Raheem Mostert hasn't been on the field. So it's not just Raheem Mostert, and that really doesn't bother me that he's not on the field because they've obviously figured it out without him this year.
System running back.
What's what scares me the most if you're the Packers is no one can figure it out. No matter what, the 49ers run game always shows up. I don't think this game's going to be too much on Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think it's going to be close. I think it's hard for the Packers to pull away from a team that is going to consistently run the ball the way the 49ers are. And last week I picked teams that I thought would be able to run the ball well, and two of my favorites, it was the Eagles and the Bills. I thought the Eagles and the Bills were going to run the ball really, really well, and that's what their offense was going to be driven by. I was wrong about the Eagles. I was definitely right about the Bills, and I think that's going to continue throughout the playoffs. And you saw with the 49ers, I mean, they almost handed that game to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys didn't want to take it, and they kept running the ball down the field and getting some scores, getting some big runs for first downs there at the end. And I think they keep that up. They played once before this season. The Packers got the better of them. It took a 37-minute field goal drive from Aaron Rodgers to 37-second field goal drive from Aaron Rodgers to do it. 49ers stayed in that game the entire time, and I think they'll do it again. I do not love the spread. The 5.5 spread is so tricky on this. I really don't know how they land on 5.5, but I'm going to hope the 49ers cover the 5.5 because I do think they'll keep it close.
They do it to piss people off is probably the answer because nobody likes the 5. I've never heard somebody say, "Oh, I like this 5.5." Like literally nobody likes that number. So interesting number there. I actually forgot these teams played this year. Good call by you. That was a great game with Rodgers there. Yeah. 37-minute drive. Yeah. That would have been cool. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Green Bay, of course. Now, Nick Bosa had the bad injury last week. I saw he's looking good to play on Saturday, but, like, that was a rough-looking injury. Like, that man is lucky it was only a concussion because that was ugly. But the main thing in this game, and I've been a Jimmy Garoppolo supporter for the most part, very handsome guy, not a bad quarterback himself either. So, with Garoppolo, the shoulder injury, the thumb injury, playing in 0-degree weather, I think it's supposed to be in Green Bay this weekend. I just don't like that formula. But basically for the Niners to really compete in this game, they got to run for 200 plus yards. And I'm not saying they can't do it, but to rely on that to be the outcome is just kind of foolish in my opinion. I think the Packers are used to this weather. They're going to be fine. San Fran has some young corners. I don't trust their secondary that much. So Aaron Rodgers is the MVP, I think, for a reason. And working with Devontae Adams, I saw that Valdez-Scantling might be out, but having Alan Lazard, I think Randall Cobb might come back as well, which would help a lot. So you have those guys coming back, and the Packers have some really key players coming back, like Jair Alexander, their corner. Left tackle David Bakhtiari is questionable, I think, but knowing him will probably just gut it out and play. So get your left tackle back. So this Packers team's getting better. And I think Zadarius Smith was taking the past few weeks off. He was injured as well. So this team's getting healthy at the right time. And in my opinion, I picked them to win the Super Bowl for a reason. I like what the Niners have going on right now, but I just do not trust Jimmy Garoppolo in this weather because against Dallas, they were going to be able to control the game at least, run the ball consistently. I just don't know if they can do it versus Green Bay. I think Green Bay is smart enough to know all they can do is run on us, and they're going to force Garoppolo to beat them, put 8-9 guys in the box, and just force him to beat you. And if he does, then so be it. But I just don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo to do that this week. And I just think San Fran has to have a crazy rushing game. I just don't see it. So if the weather was nice, maybe it would help them a bit, but I don't know. I just like the Packers a lot in this game. They might be my favorite bet. I'm still deciding as we're talking here, but I'm going to go with the Packers minus 5.5. You're going San Fran plus 5.5. Now, on to Sunday, we have the Los Angeles Rams. They are at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Should be a good matchup here. Tampa Bay is a -3 at home, so basically it's a neutral game is what Vegas is probably telling us. I'm taking the Rams. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl to start the year. I'm kind of just going to roll with that. I'm taking the Rams, and you're going to take the Buccaneers as a -3.
Yeah, this is the Bucs are just the better team, and the Rams, the way they looked last week, they looked really good. They looked really, really good. But we've just seen it time and time again. They can't keep it up for whatever reason. They just can't keep it up, and they happen to beat themselves. And this is a team you just can't make mistakes against in the Bucs because Brady and them aren't going to make many mistakes. I think the pass rush is concerning, definitely, if you're the Rams or if you're the Bucs. The Rams pass rush is very concerning because if you can get to Tom Brady, you can fluster him a little bit, make his throws go any direction or whatever you want to say. I just don't know if they're consistent enough to show up like they did last week. And to be honest, I think they need to have a dominant game like last week to win it. And I just don't see it happening again. Plus, the Rams got the better of them the first time they played this year. I think that's definitely worth mentioning considering Tom Brady's career record against people he's played in the regular season and lost to, and then played in the playoffs. They're going to come out hungry, and he's going to pull that same crap that he pulled me in on last week, Tom Brady, where he's like, "Oh, the Eagles are the best team we've played so far this year. We got to take them seriously." He doesn't want to give them any false hope or any reason to really get some extra pump up in this game, if you will. I think the Bucs get the better of them here. I think they can win by more than 3 points. Defense plays well. Their run game was even playing really well, and I think if Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones come back this week, which they could, it's going to be even worse for the Rams. So give me the Bucs minus the 3 at home.
Yeah, I don't feel confident about this game, but if I'm picking like money line, I'm picking the Rams to win it, and it's 3 points, and plus it's in my favor. So I think the Rams win it outright. Maybe I get a 1 or 2 point loss and I still cover here, but like it's tough because last week you don't want to put too much stock into what you saw. You don't want to put too much stock into Tampa beating an Eagles team that probably should not have been a playoff team. No offense. And you can't put too much stock into the Rams destroying a Cardinals team that played probably like one of their worst games of all time. So like you can't put too much into what we saw last week. I'm trying to just like take that out of my mind. But I have to admit, I liked what I saw from the Rams. I love what I saw out of Cam Akers. I have no idea how he came off an Achilles tear in like 6 months and looks as great as he did, but he looked really good running the ball hard in that game. You talked about the pass rush. I mean, Peyton Manning said that Von Miller looks like 2015 Von Miller once again. So, having Von and having Leonard Floyd, having Aaron Donald, it's a very scary offense or defensive line. And speaking of offensive line, that's what I meant to get to. Tampa has a couple of injuries. Their center, Ryan Jensen, got hurt. He did return, but he's on the injury report. And then Tristan Wirfs got hurt. He tried to return. He returned and then got injured again and had to leave the game. So, like, he's not a sure thing to play at right tackle either, which is definitely very important because I think that's who Von Miller goes against. So that's going to be tough, of course, if Tampa's without some of their offensive linemen, a guy like Tristan Wirfs especially. So there's probably going to be good weather in this game. I like that for the Rams. It still makes them a two-dimensional offense because they've been running the ball well, and it allows Matthew Stafford to go off play action and hit some of those guys on the deep plays, having Cooper Kupp on the deep crossers, Odell Beckham running deep, who's looked pretty good. Van Jefferson was not that great last week, but he's made some big plays for them this year, so that's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. But yeah, the Rams offensive line's been looking good lately. I saw that Whitworth went down at one point. I think he returned. They're fine there, and just like I said earlier, man, I picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I don't think this is a matchup they lose. And I just think Tampa there's a lot of injuries for them. I just don't think they're a full-strength team right now. I think that Chris Godwin injury finally comes back to haunt them at some point, and I think this might be the game here. I mentioned how – I think I said this last week or when we did our playoff preview that the Jaylen Ramsey on Mike Evans matchup is going to do it for me. Like, if they cover – Evans with Ramsey, I mean, who else on Tampa is going to beat you other than Gronk? Like, is Gronk going to have 150 yards?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to rely on Tyler Johnson to do your dirty work. It's just, I don't know, it's a lot. And Leonard Fournette's highly questionable. I've not heard about Ronald Jones yet. So it is a lot that has to go right for Tampa. I don't know. I think the Rams are just in the better spot right now. And I think based on the injuries, they might have the better rosters. So I'm going to go with the Rams. And, Tampa's home field is not known as like a terrible place to play, like no offense to the fans or anything. It's probably just the noise in the stadium, but like I haven't heard Tampa be like, oh, this is like the Seattle Seahawks level or Kansas City Chiefs level. So with that said, I'm going to take the Rams. Don't feel great about it, but that's my argument right there. Final game, and this, it's weird because this should be the AFC Championship game, but it's not because of how seeding works and everything, but this is going to be a tough matchup because it's like whoever wins this game is probably going to go to the Super Bowl. No offense to the Bengals or Titans, but I think most of us know that whoever wins this game is going to be favored by at least 3 next week, whoever they play. Buffalo at KC. We have the Bills at Chiefs. Chiefs are a -2.5 at home here. These teams played earlier this season. I think the Bills won by a lot, like 38-20 or something like that. So the Chiefs looking for revenge. I'm taking Kansas City, and you're going to take Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo outright. I'm getting 2.5 here. I predicted them to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going to say it again, what I said last week. If they can run the ball, they're the best team in the AFC. And it's really not that close, because if they could be a two-dimensional offense, if they could compete with the Chiefs last year or almost beat the Chiefs last year without being a two-dimensional offense, I can't even imagine what they're going to be like this year. And the Chiefs' defense has gotten better. Their offensive line has gotten better, which were two things that really held them back last year. But But the Bills, man, if they can run the ball, they're so scary. I can't even believe it. They found some type of consistency running the ball, and it's just made their offense look so good. I can't wrap my head around picking against them at this point. I can't do it because I know the Chiefs are good, and everybody's going to be riding with the Chiefs because, oh yeah, they're the Chiefs, they're the big bad Chiefs. They're going to go and they're going to win it. They have more experience.
I disagree with that. I think everyone's picking the Bills. I feel like everyone's picking
the Bills. You think everybody's picking? I don't think
From what
everybody's
I've
picking
heard,
the Bills.
a lot of people like the Bills. I'm just saying.
Well, I love the Bills. So then everybody's right because the Bills are the team to pick here because they are hot and maybe Josh Allen screws it up. Like he's that type of quarterback that he just has a bad, really, really bad game, almost like a game that we saw from Kyler Murray. He is capable of having that game where he tries to do too much. It doesn't work out well. But I think he's veteran enough at this point. He's been in the playoffs before. I think he knows what it takes to win. Everybody was doubting him last week. Oh, you got to go up against Belichick. Oh, you're in the cold weather. Oh, you can't play in the cold weather. Dominated Bill Belichick in the playoffs. That's something not many people have been able to do. Bills, I have them going to the Super Bowl. I hope they don't think the way everybody else is thinking that if they win this game, they're in the Super Bowl because I do need them to win next week too. But I think if they win this game, they are going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to take the Bills getting points in Kansas City. Game of the year, I hope. I hope it's a good game. I'm just rooting for a good game at least, not a blowout on either side.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think this is how I see this game going. I see a Bills 10-0 lead to start off, right? End of the first quarter.
Oh.
Kansas City starts to wake up. Then Buffalo gains more momentum late third quarter. Let's say Buffalo has a 10-point lead entering the fourth quarter. Let's call it like 34-24 entering the fourth quarter. Then KC, in my opinion, makes the comeback. They win the game, I don't know, like 41-37. Like that's how I think this game's going to go. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. You mentioned Josh Allen could sometimes crap the bed. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Josh Allen's locked in right now. I don't think Kansas City, although their defense is much improved, is going to completely shut down Josh Allen. Even Patrick Mahomes this year at times has had really rough games, especially the first 5 games or so this year, had plenty of turnovers. I think at one point in the first 6 games this year, he had as many interceptions as he did like the year prior. So it was rough for him offensively at one point, but he finally figured it out. They had a tip ball interception last week from Mahomes. It's not, it's kind of a fluke. I'm not counting that, but he looked a lot better, of course. So this Bills team, I feel like last offseason, once they lost to KC by 10 points, I think last year in the AFC Championship, they kind of went all out this offseason to just build a team to beat the Chiefs, and now here they are. This is a big game for Buffalo, big game for both teams, but Buffalo especially because at least the Chiefs in this Patrick Mahomes era, let's call it that, have been to the AFC Championship like 4 times in a row now. I don't think that, but Buffalo is not as prestige, I guess, as KC has been in recent years. So, Buffalo won this first matchup. I kind of like that in my favor. It's going to be tough to beat an Andy Reid type coach twice in one season, so I do like that, of course. The Chiefs have been more consistent, I think, since the start of November. Ever since that Giants game, they won 20-17. They won like 9 of the next 10 games. The Bills have been much better recently too, but they've also had a couple games this year where they just did not look right. Jacksonville played them very well in that one game, held them to like 6 points. So, stuff like that could happen. It's always weird, of course. It's the NFL. Anything could happen, but I like the Chiefs offensive, not the offense. I like the Chiefs home field advantage. It's a very loud place to play in, a tough environment there. And we've said this before. I mean, everyone knows that the Chiefs used to be favored by like 10 points, 11 points every game, and they would not cover these spreads. They're doing it now. Like, they are absolutely killing these teams recently. So, they beat the Steelers twice by a ton of points. They beat the Raiders by like 40 at one point. I mean, they've been on a roll here. So this Chiefs team, I like the spot they're in. And I mean, I don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is playing this week, but either way, Jerick McKinnon looked great last week. So they got that going for him. But yeah, in my opinion, high scoring game. KC comes back late. They win the game. That's how I see it happening. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Very fun.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned something about Belichick. Oh, Josh Allen scoring on Belichick. There's a lot of people I've heard now kind of discrediting Belichick. I mean, do you think that's fair, or do you think like maybe Tom Brady was a bigger deal for Belichick's success than people want to admit?
You mean like bashing Belichick for being bad against the Bills?
It's just people saying that like, oh, Bill Belichick was really – he's not Bill Belichick without Tom Brady. It's only Tom Brady. Like how much do you think that's fair? Because like I feel like a lot of people are just saying it's Brady.
I think it's extremely unfair. And the Brady's had success on the Bucs, but let's be honest. He joined a Bucs roster that was ready to go. They had Jameis Winston, and they were winning 8 games. They were ready to go. So they were a quarterback away. He stepped into a beautiful system, nice warm weather, nice almost retirement weather. He was ready to go. Like, there was no rebuild involved. Bill Belichick, on the other hand, was kind of left like doing whatever. He picked up Cam Newton, tried to figure it out, still got 7 wins somehow. And now he's in the playoffs with a rookie quarterback, and defense always shows up. Offensive line always shows up. There's just something about that team that just Bill Belichick knows what to do. And honestly, if I was a Giants fan, I'd be happy because I do think he is going to be a candidate for the head coaching job for the Giants. I know it sounds absolutely bizarre, and I've said it to about 4 people now, so I hope I'm right in the end because it would just make me seem like an absolute genius. I think Bill Belichick will be a candidate for the Giants. I really do.
Now, how's this happening? Are we trading for him, or like what's going on here?
I think he's going to leave.
Really? Yeah, but like, why leave that for the Giants? Like, the Giants stink.
It's back to his roots. He wants to see his team succeed. He's living in the Big Apple, getting out of Massachusetts, New England, irrelevant city, Boston. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but they're relevant.
Yeah. I think it's unfair. I think Bill Belichick has proven time and time again he's put a great defense and offensive line on the field too consistently. 2 of the things that some teams just can't even figure out. Like, teams can't figure out the defense sometimes. Teams can't figure out the offensive line. He's done that consistently. I don't think that's all on Brady.
Like, to me, it's like 60-40 Tom Brady or like 65-35 Tom Brady. But like, to give Belichick like no credit, I just saw too much of that. I'm like, how can you not give Bill credit? So, like, even holding the Rams to 3 points a few years ago in the Super Bowl, like, that was tremendous. Like, that defensive game plan. I mean, a lot of good content creators made videos and like how the Patriots held them to 3 points, and it was just like a defensive mastermind by Bill Belichick the entire game. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I feel like it's a short show. What else should we talk about, buddy? Anything on your mind here? NFL related?
Let's go over our bracket. We had an identical bracket in the first round last week.
Okay.
We went 6-0 in winners. So everybody that we had in the divisional round right now is there. Mm-hmm. But we disagree on 3 games out of the 4 on winners this week. You took the Rams, I took the Bucs.
Right.
You took the Bengals, I took the Titans. You took the Chiefs, I took the Bills. We both took the Packers.
Ooh. So the brackets, the brackets will get a lot clearer after this week. I don't have them in front of me, so unfortunately I can't speak on this. But I think you're right. Yeah. So I'll try to put them in here as we're talking. Fun stuff indeed. Is Aaron Hicks overrated?
Sure.
There it is.
I don't know who really overrates him anymore, except for me.
I wonder. Maybe some guy I'm talking to right now. Anyway, that's going to do it for the show. It was a short one, but that's kind of how it goes when there's like only a few games left. So appreciate you guys joining us. We will talk to you guys next week for the conference championship.